It's easy to get money from foolish people. This is what it's saying, right? It's very simple to get money from foolish people. It's difficult or unlikely that a foolish person is going to hold on to their wealth that they've built, if they've managed to build any. Foolish people can't do that. So basically it means that a person who acts carelessly with their money is going to lose it fast. Zero. You take, for instance, someone that's completely broke, $0. They don't have anything. The position that they're in is going to influence the decisions they make, right? Sometimes they take desperate measures. And I'm not talking about robbing or stealing or anything illegal. I just mean desperate. They take desperate measures. When was the last time you met someone that got fired and they admitted that they sucked at their job? Right? They admitted that they had a tardiness problem. They were just late all the time. No matter what they did, they just couldn't show up on time. They were always late, right? And you know, it doesn't matter what they do. They always have a reason as to why they were late, why they couldn't. So excited. Happy New Year to all of you, every single one of you, and welcome to Money Monday. Hey, I am fired up to be here, and I know you're fired up. I see lots of fire coming in the chat box. Let's see who we have in the house. We have Lloyd, we have Paul, we have Blaze. I see Divine in the house. Steve is in the house. Henry is in the house. My beautiful wife is in the house. Sandrine is in the house. We have Serge. We have Blaze again. All of you guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you all. And if you're in the house, put it in the chat. Let us know you are here. You are here. Hey, you know, as the year begins, it's interesting because every year I have a word of the year. All right. So last year, my word was identity. And, you know, I wanted to raise my identity. I wanted to raise the identity of the people around me. And the word of the year is basically the word, it's your theme, right? You carry that word throughout the entire year. And the year before that was confidence. And so this year for 2023, my word of the year is impact, because that's what I am about for the rest of this year, is creating as big of an impact as I can, and for me and the people around me, right? So impact is my word for 2023. And if you don't have a word for 2023, get a word for the whole year, okay? Get a word. It's your theme for the entire year. It just builds on whatever you base that word on, right? So that's exciting. Zachary's in the house. Good to see you, champion. So welcome every single one of you to another Money Monday. If this is your first Money Monday, we are in the house every single Monday at 8 o'clock. And the topic is money. All right, how to make more of it, how to keep more of it in your pocket. And hey, listen to our topic today. Socrates, which is a famous philosopher, he has this quote that says, "Wisdom adorneth riches and casteth a shadow over poverty." All right, a fancy way of saying that wisdom brings riches and, you know, pushes away poorness, right? A fancy way for saying that. Here's another saying: a fool and his money are soon parted. And I'm sure it's the same. A fool and her money are soon parted as well. Now, this used basically, right, to say that a foolish person that spends money too quickly on unimportant things, this is going to lose their money, right? It's easy to get money from foolish people. This is what it's saying, right? It's very simple to get money from foolish people. It's difficult or unlikely that a foolish person is going to hold on to their wealth that they've built, if they've managed to build any. Foolish people can't do that. So basically it means that a person who acts carelessly with their money is going to lose it fast. I was doing some research on this saying here, and this phrase, believe it or not, is about at least 460 years old. All right, it was first written and used by a gentleman by the name of Thomas Tusser. He wrote it in a poem that was called 500 Points of Good Husbandry, right? So this was in like the year 1557. That's how long this phrase has been around. Now, interestingly enough, right, when he wrote it in the poem, the phrase was a little bit different. It said, a fool and his money be soon at debate. Right. And then it changed into what you see here. A fool and his money are soon parted. Now, today, this brings me to my topic today. We're going to talk about wisdom breaks poverty. Wisdom breaks poverty. This is one of those topics that you're going to want to fish around and get yourself a pen and paper or a pencil and paper or your note-taking app or whatever it is you use to take your notes, because we are going to take a deep dive into how wisdom breaks poverty. Looking at the word, the definition, you can do a Google search here. When we look at the word wise, it means having or showing experience, knowledge, and good judgment. Sometimes you don't have the experience, true or not. You don't have the experience, but you have good judgment, right? And that's what we want to talk about today. It's being able to have the good judgment so you can respond properly to whatever situation comes to you. Here's one of those statements that you're going to want to write down. The position that you are in influences the decisions that you make. Okay, write this down. The position that you're in influences the decisions that you make. I'm going to repeat it a couple of times while you gather yourself to write it down. The position that you're in influences the decisions that you make. Very important. Write this down. Okay. You can see this a lot in parenting, for example. All right. It's like, remember when you were a child and you hated some of the things that your parents did? How many of you know what I'm talking about? You hated some of the things that your parents did, right? They did some things and you're like, when I'm a parent, I will never do that. I will never do that. But as soon as you become a parent, you find yourself doing or saying the exact same thing that you said you would never do when you were a child. Why? The position that you're in influences the decisions that you make, right? But you see that the position that the child is in, the child can't feel empathy. Why? Because you have been a child and a parent before, right? But the child has only ever been a child. So the child can't feel the empathy. So their position, the position that the child is in influences the decisions they make, and the position that the parent is in influences the decisions that they make. So very important. The position influences the decisions that you make. You know, when I was up and coming in training in our industry, you know, I would do different talks and trainings and so forth. And I was like an apprentice, if you will, right? I was learning. I made a list of all the things that I said I was never going to do whenever I go out and venture on my own. Whenever I start up on my own, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And I had this long list of things that I said I would never do, right? And then I ventured out on my own. Right. But remember, the position that you're in influences the decisions that you make. So when I went out on my own, and because my position changed, guess what I did with that list? I had to rip the list up. The list was no longer valid. Why? The position that I'm in influences the decisions that I make. You know, you can also see this with money. You see this exact same thing with money. You say, well, Jermaine, how? Have you heard those people say money isn't everything? It is if you don't have any, right? If you have some money, it isn't everything. But if you don't have anything, like zero, you take, for instance, someone that's completely broke, $0. They don't have anything. The position that they're in is going to influence the decisions they make, right? Sometimes they take desperate measures. And I'm not talking about robbing or stealing or anything illegal. I just mean desperate. They take desperate measures, right? They'll go mow the lawn. They'll go mow their neighbor's lawn if they have to, right? They'll go knock on the door, mow the neighbor's lawn. They'll go into the couch, look for quarters to buy gas. They'll do whatever they have to do. Why? Because the position that you're in influences the decisions that you make. When you have money, it isn't everything. When you don't have money, it is everything, right? When you have money, your position is different. So your decisions are also different. The position that you're in influences the decisions that you make. The opposite of that is also true. What do I mean? Well, the decisions that you make influences the positions that you're in. The exact opposite, right? Whatever decisions you make along the way is going to influence whatever position that you are in, right? I am in the position right now based on all of the decisions that I've made up until now. The decisions that I continue to make will alter the position that I'm in, right? This is for everyone. Where can you see this? Have you seen someone that got fired? When was the last time you met someone that got fired and they admitted that they sucked at their job? Right? They admitted that they had a tardiness problem. They were just late all the time. No matter what they did, they just couldn't show up on time. They were always late, right? And, you know, it doesn't matter what they do. They always have a reason as to why they were late, why they could never be on time at their work, right? How many people admit that? How many people admit that they couldn't communicate well? Have you ever met someone that said, hey, you know, I got fired, but it was because I was always late. I got fired it was because I couldn't communicate well, or I wasn't competent at the job. Did they ever admit it? Did they admit that they weren't competent? Right? Did they admit that they were sleeping? You found them, their boss found them sleeping on the job? Nobody admits that. Or they were on TikTok or Instagram the majority of the day, right? Nobody admits that. When was the last time someone got fired? They admitted that it was the decisions. It was their decisions along the way that influenced why they got fired. The position of them being fired. When was the last time somebody admitted that? Make sense? So it's very important that we understand that the opposite is also true, right? The opposite is also true. The decisions that we make influences the position that we're in. All right. So here's some things that were said along the same lines. You can't control the direction of the wind, but you can adjust your sails. When I was growing up in the Cayman Islands, often I would see the sailboats, they would be out and, you know, they would go in a certain direction, but I always wondered how they got back with the wind blowing, right? And they just adjusted their sails. They adjusted the sail to where they wanted, what direction they wanted the boat to go in. So they never tried to control the wind. Oh, I need to go right. So can we have a wind blowing in that direction? I never seen them do that. What did I see them do? They adjusted the sail to turn the boat in the right direction. So you can't control the direction of the wind. The only thing that you can control is how you adjust your sails. The right decisions are always the hardest to make, but they must be made in order to live the life you deserve. A lot of people are good at avoiding the hard decisions, right? They avoid it. They don't make the hard decisions. They leave those decisions, right? But the right decisions, exactly what it says, is the hardest to make. But when you make those decisions, life becomes easy. Life becomes easy. If you avoid to make the hard decisions, life becomes hard. The opposite is also true. So the richest wealth is wisdom. The strongest weapon is patience. The best security is faith. The greatest tonic is laughter. And you know what is fun? And surprisingly, all are free, right? Every single person has wisdom, patience, faith, and they can laugh on this call. Another one, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. And that's what my hope is for you tonight, is that you made a decision. You made a decision that 2023 is going to be the best year you've ever had in your entire life. That you pray for more wisdom, that you can make the right decisions. You can make the hard decisions. You can do what it takes to get yourself to the next level. You can get yourself out of being where you don't want to be anymore to where you do ultimately want to be. This is my prayer for you. And that happens with a decision. You make that decision, and I promise you, everything will just start to work out for you, right? It's going to take work. Yes, I'm not saying it's just going to fall into your lap, but it starts with a decision, right? The decision comes first. And that's my prayer. My prayer and my hope for you tonight is that tonight you made a decision. And how do you know that you made a decision? You take immediate action towards your decision, whatever that is. Maybe it's setting up a meeting with someone that's going to help you some plans in place. Maybe it's a phone call to the person that invited you to put a plan in place. Whatever it is, you got to make a decision to help you get towards your goals and your dreams. So that is my prayer for you. And I just want to say thank you very much for joining us tonight. It has been great. It has been a pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you next Monday. Next Monday, we're here, Money Monday at 8:00 p.m. Please, you're free to invite whoever you think can benefit from this information on this call. So that's exciting. Happy New Year. If I personally haven't told you Happy New Year, please accept this from me and Tamoy as a Happy New Year from both of us. God bless you, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the top.